Everyone, this is Fangirl signing in after a very short amount of time from my last one. You guys may have noticed that I haven't been on for a couple of weeks. That's because everything kind of all happened at the same time. My schoolwork increased, I had to go to the doctors a lot more. I had to go and see certain people, I had to go and do certain things. Our estate decided that we wasn't going to have any water and we wasn't going to have any electricity for a little bit. We've had power cuts on and off, and just generally everything's just gone topsy-turvy. There's been arguments, fights, love triangles are forming between my little friendship groups, and I kind of, if possible, if you guys know what I mean with the little flappy hand gestures. Yeah. So, in case you guys haven't realised by the fact that I'm wearing a jumper and sweatpants and generally I look like I haven't slept in 3 days. Probably because I haven't slept properly for 3 days. But today is a book review. And I had to do this book review mainly because this is now the 4th time in a week that I have read this book and seen the movie and just generally got obsessed with this book and this plot line and these concepts. And if you guys haven't realised, it is another Stephen King. This is The Shining. And The Shining has become a sort of iconic Stephen King along with Carrie and Shawshank Redemption. Now, the thing with this book is I'd seen the film first. So I already had expectations in my head of what I was looking for, of what I was expecting, and that kind of did ruin the first experience of reading the book for me, because the book, although it's quite similar to the film, it's very different in how it portrays its characters. And I like that. I like the fact that you can read a book and have like these own personal little characters, but then you can go and see someone else's interpretation of them, and that is pretty cool. And that's why I love doing these book review things with you guys, because you guys do message me and Instagram, like I've had so many late night talks about like different books, and it's just generally amazing. I love books. Books are my friends. Now, The Shining, if you don't know, is about this 5-year-old boy called Danny. Now, Danny has something called the Shine, hence The Shining. And basically, it's almost a telekinesis. He can read his parents' emotions, he can sometimes read their thoughts, he can go into trances in which his friend Tony shows up and shows him visions of the future, shows him where to find things, for example, his dad's play that got put under the stairs by mistake. And just generally, like, the ability to foreshadow certain events. And in the book it says everyone's got a little bit of a shine to them, especially mothers. You could call it preemption, cognitive previews, stuff like that. But it's something that's been going around in the literacy world for ages and ages and ages. And that his father, John, is an alcoholic with a bad temper. So stereotypical, oh, he's trying for his son, but like he's a bad guy. And the mum's a stereotypical, won't leave the dad because of the children, well, child, stays at home, keeps her mouth shut, blah 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 blah. And when you first start this journey with this small family, you kind of don't realise what's going on until you get almost to the very end, because there's so many small hints and little pieces that if you just completely brush off in your mind, doesn't really make sense later on. So it's definitely a book that you have to read 2 or 3 times, which I have obsessively, but that's irrelevant. So the dad loses his temper and beats a student up because the student was slashing his tyres after he had set the timer ahead because the kid had a stutter on the debate team. And ends up working in a hotel called the Overlook for the winter. and he takes his family with him and they get snowed in. But the hotel has a dark past and starts messing with people's minds. There was an incident with a wasp nest where John thought he had killed all the wasps and gave his son the nest as a present, because apparently that's something people do in America. Just let me know with that one. Why would you keep a wasp's nest? Like, nope, 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 nope. I don't like wasps. And then about 50 or 100 or so come out during the night and start stinging the little boy. And little bits like that keep occurring throughout the book. There's little bits and pieces, and there's certain character crossovers as well. If you guys have read Joyride, and I'll be putting a review out on Joyride soon, there is a character called Howie the dog, and there's a brief mentioning of a humanoid dog character called Howie in The Shining. And I can't remember if The Shining came out before Joyland, or if Joyland came out before Shining, but either way, both of them characters are mentioned in the same book, which I thought was pretty cool, because you kind of get immersed in Stephen King's little fantasy world, I guess you could say. Now, it is a really good book, in the sense that you're taken back to a time when everything was more innocent. You're back as a 5-year-old, where the world's a lot bigger, scarier place, and you've been given this huge power that you don't know what you're doing with. Stuck in a scary place that's turning your dad into this weird, angry thing, who eventually tries to kill everyone. Yeah, that's the thing. With a Roke mat, which is the short ones with the two sides. One's got a little rubber bit, one's got like the little jagged bits. So he tries to kill his son with that, because his son looked in a room called 217, in which a woman had overdosed on sleeping pills and alcohol after her lover had abandoned her in the hotel, which is a completely other short story. And that's also another thing, because of it's including the Overlook's history, it's a bunch of small stories incorporated into a larger plotline, which makes it really, really cool. And one of my favourite things about this book is it mentions Edgar Allan Poe a lot. And there's quotes and scriptures from his work, and I love that. I love the fact that he's using such an old poet who's done so much in the, in just poetry itself. He changed the face of poetry. And to have him in the Stephen King is actually really cool. But still getting sidetracked here. Once the Overlook has gotten into the dad's head, the dad starts drinking again and wanting to make the hotel pleased with him, which includes killing his kid, killing his wife, and then trying to kill the cook, who showed up because Danny called him with his mental mind. So it's a very, I wouldn't say it's a complex plot, how this all works, but the way that Stephen has done it, it's almost like you can't help but feel sorry for the characters, especially the dad. You end up feeling really, really bad for the dad, and then you kind of feel bad for these giant hedge animals that have been trying to kill you, Danny, for the entire book, and now you just feel really bad for them because they're just all dying. It's just they didn't mean to, they were just doing their job. That's why I'm and as soon as animals get killed in movies, I'm just why? I had a huge problem with I Am Legend because that dog died. Just no. That was just a bad. I have not seen that movie since, actually. But yeah, so the book and the movie, although incredibly similar, are so much different. I can't explain it. You guys have to go out and read this for yourself. Go out and see the movie. And if you prefer the movie, let me know. And if you prefer the book, let me know, because I'm always intrigued to see which is better, the book or the film. Because films are always one or two people's interpretations of it, whereas the book can be interpreted by you in any way that you want, and that's incredible. But sometimes seeing other people's perception on it can completely change the book for you. I know it changed the book for me when I first read it, and I kind of wish that I read the book before I saw the film. But I can't go back in time and deal with all that, so I just have to go and deal with it. So, long story short, Stephen King, The Shining is definitely one of the better books that I've read by Stephen. Still not as good as The Dark Half, but pretty close, especially with the decent movie adaptation. I mean, I had a problem with Carrie because I read the book and then I saw the original, not the remake, the original. And although that was brilliantly done, when I watched a little bit of the remake, I just didn't live up to expectations, I guess. But I do like what Stephen does and how he does his work, how he'd be in the middle of a paragraph and then they'd drop a line and it'd be like one or two words and they'd drop back and continue the paragraph as if nothing had happened. And I like the way that he does that because it's almost as if it's your thoughts intruding on it. It sounds weird, but it'd be like a passage about Danny and his toy car, and then there'd just be like these two words like read from, and then just gone, and then it was just normal. And I think that's really cool because it almost breaks it up and it almost gives you hints about what's coming. I have been going on and on about this book for 12 minutes straight, so I'm going to give your guys' ears a rest. If you've seen the book, if you've read the book or seen the film, let me know in the comments. If you like this, give it a little thumbs up. If you think anyone else should be subjected to me blabbering on and on about Stephen King and how he's absolutely amazing and I love all of his books, then press the share button. But apart from that, just have a good day. Let me know your guys' next book suggestions and I will get that out to you as soon as possible. This is Fangirl, signing out.